Summer holidays. I'm gonna make a promise to you right now. I usually charge $50 for a couple of hours of my time for exactly the things that I'm about to tell you. And if you want to see how helpful my advice is, feel free to check out my reviews from the first link in the description. I promise you, you listen to everything that I have to say in this video and you implement it. This will be the single greatest month of your life. You'll make more progress in this 1 month than you otherwise would in 6. Get ready, we're gonna get straight into it. No hooks, no fluff, no bullshit, no nothing, just pure value. Let me begin by emphasizing the potential value of this month for you. You must have heard this saying of everyone has 24 hours in their day. Clearly, whoever said this never met anyone who goes to school. You don't have 24 hours in your day. You begin with 24, yes, but you sleep for a minimum of 8. At least I hope so. Freshening up in the morning takes you half an hour, winding down in the evening another half. Lunch runs for at least half an hour, and dinner, let's say you have with your family, and that runs for a whole hour. You're left with 13.5. Bear in mind, we've only removed the bare essentials that you absolutely cannot save any time on in the long run. And we're left with 13.5. Okay, let's be generous and round it up to 14. So for this month, for this 1 month of summer vacations, you have about 14 hours in a day. Not 24, 14. But here's the kicker. On school days, now I am going to take the example of my younger brother, and I have no reason to believe that his timings should look any different than the average. So he starts to get ready for school at 6:30 a.m. He leaves for school at 7, gets back at 3:30 p.m. and is done with his bath by 4. 6:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's 9.5 hours. Let's be realistic, right? Sometimes it's going to take you a little while to get ready. Sometimes it's going to take you sometimes your bus is going to be a little late. Things like that. Let's round it up to an even 10. So 14 minus 10. On school days, you begin with 4 free hours in your day. Not 24. 4. 14 free hours a day for this 1 month of summer vacations, and 4 a day for almost the entire rest of the year. You're getting a 250% increase in your free time for this 1 month. Assuming you spend about 2 hours a day indulging. That's Instagram and YouTube and video games and everything combined. I don't think that's a very bold assumption to make, is it? That leaves you, reducing 2 hours from each, that leaves you with 2 hours free a day on school days to do everything else that you want to do, versus 12 during this month. That's 600% extra. You could literally get done during these summer holidays in this 1 month of June as much as you otherwise would until the end of the year. Now you understand. Grab a pen and paper or open up a Notion page and let's begin. Class is in session. The one thing that'll throw you off track, the one thing that'll make 90% of your friends do worse in this 1 month than they would have if they just had school: schedule. Here's one of the greatest hacks that I have for you. Note this one down. Schedule every minute of your day. Here's another one. Routine enables freedom. Without a routine, you're basically a slave to your emotions, your feelings, to stresses and worries, to failure and misery. So let's take care of exactly that. Let me help you spend the 24 hours of your day, or the 14 hours of your day, better. Let's begin with the thing that will have the greatest impact: sleep. To summarize hundreds of sleep studies and research papers and advices into 2 protocols, both of them essential, by the way. If you want to truly experience the benefits of good sleep, you need both. Number one, sleep and wake up at the exact same time every single day, be it a Wednesday or even a Saturday or a Sunday. And number two, give yourself in bed time of at least 8.5 hours, ideally 9. I hope you're noting all of that down. I'm going to assume that 10 to 7 should work for most of you. And I'm going ahead with the rest of this video, assuming that you're sleeping from 10 to 7. Feel free to move this block around in whatever direction you want to and make changes to your timings accordingly. Again, what matters at the end of the day is that you're able to stick with it for the entire month. If you want this month to look any better than the previous 10, one very important, non-negotiable thing that you need to do first thing in the morning, or rather not do, to be more precise, do not pick up your phone first thing in the morning. There's a lot of science behind this. You see, most of us assume and we think of sleep as just this state of rest and relaxation. But in actuality, it is much more than that. During sleep, there are parts of the brain that are much more active than even when you're awake. It's during sleep that your brain consolidates and processes everything that you've experienced and or thought during the day. There are two students who both of them study about, let's say, 5 hours a day, right? Like on one given day, let's say student A and student B both study for 5 hours. That night, student A gives himself about 8.5 hours of sleep. Student B he spends the entire evening binging and playing his video games, and he gives himself like 4 hours of sleep. There is no doubt about the fact that if there's an exam on the next day about what they studied the previous day, even though they had they spent the same amount of time studying, they had the same focus, they were just as concentrated, just because student A did something different after the fact, just because he gave himself more sleep, he's going to end up doing better on the exam. This is the kind of thing that you want to take advantage of. These are the little things that you want to leverage. This is what you call smart work. Student B studied just as much, but just because he wasn't willing to work smart, just because he wasn't willing to give himself the sleep that he needed, even despite putting in just as much effort and work, he ends up scoring much worse. That goes to support the need for good quality and quantity of sleep, as well as the fact that if there's a problem you've been struggling with for a while, if there's something that you're trying to figure out, you're most likely to come upon a solution within the first hour after waking. But the problem, the mistake that most of us make is we pick up this, we pick up this thing and we start flooding our brains with external stimulus within minutes of waking. So all of those gems that we were supposed to get, they get lost in this flood. So the next takeaway for you, do not pick up your phone first thing after waking. You might ask, what do I do instead? Spend the first hour of the day with yourself. What does that mean? Meditation, journaling, gratitude, whatever it is that you want to do, I would recommend all of the above. So take 20-30 minutes to freshen up and spend the rest of the hour doing all of those things. You don't want to be rushing yourself through things first thing in the morning. So take it easy. Get a good, relaxed start to the day. Let me give you another half an hour to meet your parents, to make yourself a cup of coffee, to drink a tea, or whatever, right? At 8:30, you begin your work for the day. Here is the mindset, write it down. You want to finish your entire work for the day within 8 to 9 hours of waking. The reason for this is that your dopamine, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, all of these hormones in your body, these are hormones that help you focus and concentrate on the task at hand. They are the hormones that make it easier for you to lean in to the friction that you feel when working. And these hormones, peak naturally during the first 8-9 hours of the day. In other words, it's during these hours that it should be the easiest for you to be able to study. It's during these hours when your body aids you in your attempt, in your efforts to get things done. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but it sure will be easier than trying to do it in the evening. So 8:30 to 10, your first bout of studying for the day. From research, from studies, we know that 90-minute bouts of work, of studies are most optimal. Any lesser and you leave gains on the table, any longer and your focus starts to drift. The idea behind, let me share with you, right? The idea behind how we're structuring our days, how much studies we're getting done, how much time we're allocating for work. The idea behind it is that we're going to be severely limiting, severely constricting the amount of time we give to you to work for. But then you better give your absolute all during those limited hours, right? You hate studying for entire days, fine. We'll reduce the amount of time we are asking you to study for, but you better than be abso-fucking-lutely dialed in for those few hours. I want you to do well. You want you to do well, right? So if working for 10 hours a day would be ideal for that, you best be sure I would be sitting here asking you to put in the 10 hours right now. But as it turns out, we got lucky. It isn't 10 hours isn't ideal. About 3 to 5 hours a day is what we know to be the maximum amount of time that you can work optimally for. So I'll let you do the 3 to 5 hours, but you better be getting the same output or better than the guy putting in 10. That is where the concept of deep work comes in. What is deep work? I've made many videos on deep work, feel free to check them out. But to summarize, put simply, deep work is focused, undistracted work, where for the entirety of the time that you're studying for, let alone do something else for even a minute, you don't let yourself even think about the gym or what you're going to eat for lunch or that thing that friend said to you the previous day or what you saw in that YouTube short. So wake up at 7, an hour of self-time, half an hour extra, 8:30 to 10, first bout of deep work. Now if you've really been doing deep work, you should be exhausted within this hour and a half. You need a break, you need some rest. You know what we're going to do? We're going to tire you the fuck out. Physically. You just spent the past 90 minutes exhausting yourself cognitively. Now we're going to exhaust you physically and give your brain a rest in the process. So 10 to 11, go and have an insane workout at the gym or just get some exercise, get some calisthenics done. 11 to 11:30, get back home and shower. Let me give you another half an hour over here to relax. Maybe make yourself some hot chocolate, maybe just sit there, maybe listen to some music, whatever you want to do. I've learned from experience that if you try to cram too much and you make your routine too tightly packed, you get sick of it quite soon and you give up. And we want you to stick with this for the entire month. Alright? So give yourself this half an hour. 12 to 1:30, put in your second bout of deep work. Again, completely focused, undistracted, deep work. We're at 1:30 now. It's lunchtime. If you have lunch with your parents, you're lucky. Not a lot of people have that, and it's not going to last forever. You're going to grow up, you're going to have your shit to do. So all I'll say is enjoy it while it lasts. Make the most of it. Now, if you're like most people, you have lunch by yourself. Ideally, I would ask you to read a book or listen to some podcast or do something productive with lunch as well. But if you must, you can pick up your phone now, you can open up your laptop now. Just so we're clear, 1:30 p.m. 6.5 hours after waking, this is the first time since morning that you're picking up your phone outside of playing some music at the gym. So I'll allow it. You deserve it, my brother. So, lunch coupled with whatever your poison is. be it parents or a book or YouTube or even a combination of them. That will take you a little more than an hour. Let's round it up to an even 90 minutes. So 1:30 to 3 lunch. Now here's where some variation comes in. I'm going to make 3 categories. You figure out which one you lie in and accordingly go ahead with the rest of the routine. Category 1, you're someone who consistently studies for hours a day on most days. Category 2, you've never really studied much, but you still want to spend your time productively. And category 3, you've never bothered with studies and you have no plans, no intentions to give up your video games, your Instagram, your YouTube anytime soon. Well, for those of you in category 3, I promise you, you'll be getting more done by lunch than you ever have in weeks. This is your current capacity, maybe even a little beyond it. Try to push yourself any further and you'll relapse. You'll relapse hard and end up spending entire multiple days just indulging. So if that's you, feel free to enjoy the rest of the day. Do whatever the fuck you want to. This freedom in the latter half of the day should enable you, should motivate you to, for the first time in your life, start getting work done. It should motivate you to spend your mornings extremely productively. I won't recommend this, but I have been there. We all got to start somewhere, right? So don't let anybody give you shit for it if that's you right now. Just know that you gotta raise the bar for yourself at some point. You gotta move on to the next level at some point. Try to make it as soon as possible. Category 2, you've done a good amount of studying. Your output's probably better than it has been on most days. You don't want to study anymore, but you still want to spend the day productively. I think this is where most of you will lie. I would recommend spending the next hour and a half, so 3 to 4:30, enhancing yourself. What you want to do is you want to build an arsenal. You want to build up an arsenal of productive options so you can alternate between them depending upon how much energy you have. So for example, on the top of the hierarchy would be reading a book, followed by watching and making notes from an Andrew Huberman video, followed by a Diary of a CEO video. You want to make sure you have something for all energy levels, because feeling tired and feeling lazy are the biggest reasons you skip out on spending this time productively and you end up scrolling through Instagram for hours instead. Category 1, the few of you who are driven and motivated to do even more. First of all, fucking respect, dude. For you, I would recommend a third and final bout of studying. So 3 to 4:30, a final bout of deep work. Continuing on, for category 2 and category 1, 4:30 to 5:30, self-enhancement. This could again be books or podcasts or videos, anything as long as it is productive. 5:30 to 6:30, try to get some movement in. Preferably get out of the house and do some light exercise. Maybe throw some hoops, do some swimming, do some cardio, maybe go for a walk, whatever works for you. And finally, 6:30 to 9:30, I give to you 3 hours, the last 3 hours of the day. Do as you please. If you want, you could learn to play an instrument, practice some chess, learn to rap, to beatbox, to do a handstand. Of course, feel free to allow yourself to binge your favorite content, play your favorite game, whatever you want. Just make sure you fit your dinner in within these 3 hours as well. So you could try to learn some skill before dinner, have dinner, and then spend the rest of the time indulging and in instant gratification. But again, that's just a suggestion. I am not going to tell you how to spend these 3 hours. That is completely up to you. I gave you those 3 hours, but in return, I'm going to need one small thing from you, one last thing in order to make this routine complete. I'm going to need you to try and end whatever it is that you're doing at 9:30. Try to end it at 9:30, but have an alarm set for 9:45 p.m.
That's 15 minutes before whenever your bedtime is supposed to be. We're assuming 10, so 9:45 is when your alarm is set. And the second that alarm rings, this is where I'm going to need you to practice self-discipline. The second that alarm rings, you cannot finish that game that you, let alone finish that game that you're playing. You cannot even finish the video that you're watching, that YouTube short that you're 5 seconds away from completing. That's the one bit of discipline I'm going to need from you toward the end of the day. Why? So that you can go to bed on time. You remember the first protocol for you: go to sleep and wake up at the same time every single day. Right? The only way the going to sleep time can be kept in check, which will result in the entire rest of the routine being kept in check, is if you force yourself to stop whatever you're doing 15 minutes before bedtime. That is the deadline. Try to stop 30 minutes before, but 15 minutes is the point after which you forbid yourself from doing anything at all. Right? 15 minutes for you to wash your face, brush your teeth, whatever you want to do at the end of the day, and make sure to be in bed at 10. That's how we end our routine. That's what I have for you today, boys. That is the $1 million routine. That is exactly how you spend every minute of your day to get whatever result that you want. I've coached about 40 people so far, and I've helped 40 people improve their lives significantly. And after multiple changes and adjustments, this is the blueprint that I have to give to you. Of course, if you want me to help you structure your day according to your personal wants and needs, if you want to make progress toward your individual goals as optimally and as efficiently as possible, feel free to hit me up using the first link in the description. I'll wait to hear from you. Until then, make your dreams a reality, one day at a time, boys. I will see you in the next one.